Howdy, folks. I want to talk about Hitman. I had missed these two. It came out in '07. I wasn't really actively reading a lot of comics in '07. Was busy on the road a lot and just would pick up stuff here and there. But Hitman is a slightly older character, and apparently they resurrected him because it was a series that ran for 60 issues, and he dies in issue 60. Spoilers, but they tell you about it in this two-piece set or two-issue miniseries. Mainly, I want to talk about Hitman. That's why I picked these up, and boy, did they send me some trashed copies. I mean, I know this thing's not rare, but still, I paid full price. They were garbage. They didn't put them in, but that's forget that. I mean, I don't care how bad these are. I wasn't buying them for collectability. I was buying them to read. These are definitely reader copies that were sent to me. Let's see, Hitman. There was a series in the 90s that ran through all the annuals called Bloodlines, and DC thought this was going to be huge. They did trading cards for it. They did all kinds of stuff. And it's when comics were massive in the 90s. Death of Superman and all that stuff. And in each annual, a new character was introduced. So each annual was collectible. You had to get the annuals. A new character is being introduced. Well, the whole thing flopped. Cards didn't sell. The new characters sucked. And only one of them came out that made any sense. It was from the Demon. If you do get that Demon annual, you've got something, might be worth a few bucks. This character is still kind of unknown. But in it was Hitman. And these aliens came to Earth and somehow gave people powers and whatever. That was the story. And a guy was a hitman, Tommy Monahan. And he got superpowers, which his superpower is basically he can see I think he can see their intentions, and he has some X-ray vision. Now, his eyes are all weird. That's why he always has to wear sunglasses, as you can maybe see if I move the glare out of there. So it's like, and that's his whole costume: guns, green trench coat, glasses, black T-shirt, jeans. That's him, Hitman. So out of all these new heroes introduced, the one that had any legs was one introduced by Garth Ennis. Now, Garth Ennis is known for things like Preacher and The Boys and Crossed. Ooh, Crossed is pretty nasty stuff. Good book, but it is, and Crossed is one where he says, let's just see how far I can go. Preacher's one where he pretty much says, let's see how far I can go. And that's pretty much Garth Ennis, is he loves to push the edge. Now, this is him writing a regular book that fits into the Batman, Superman universe, so he couldn't push the edge. And I think it's his best writing because of it. Because he didn't just get to rely on dick jokes or whatever. He actually had to think of things, clever things to say. And I don't know, I thought that's why I thought Hitman was such a good series. It was weird. They brought in a company called Section 8 that hung out at the bar. It was led by a guy named Six Pack, and they were just the weirdest heroes you've ever seen, with El Bueno, who carried the powers of perversion. You never knew what he did to people, but they just were grossed out afterwards. You just see it, like he'd take them into an alley, and then the person would come out just, you know. There was Dog Welder, who had the power to weld dogs to people. It was a strange thing, and a lot of it was just strangeness to be strange, but they're very funny. And a couple of my favorite parts with Hitman is the very first issue. Batman goes to find this new guy, Hitman, to see what's up. Because, that's Batman. Batman makes everything his business. So he meets Tommy, and he's talking to him, and Tommy, smart mouths at Batman, and Batman just nails him with a punch to the gut. Just hits him as hard as he can. Tommy throws up all over Batman. It's one of the funniest things. Just to see, you don't see it happening. You see the sound effect of the And Batman's face of just, oh God. He's never had that happen to him before. There's issues with Green Lantern that are good. Superman is really good. And my favorite is when he meets up with a guy called Resurrection Man. Now, Resurrection Man has the power to resurrect. Every time he dies, he comes back. And he has a power, a superpower. And each time he comes back, he gets killed and he comes back with a brand new superpower. So Tommy's working with Resurrection Man, and they get to a building they need to get into, and it's very well secured. It's almost like a fortress. And at the moment, Resurrection Man has like super hearing or something. And he says, "Can you get us in? And what's your power?" And Resurrection Man explains, "I can hear everybody inside." He goes, "Okay, that helps a little bit, but not enough." Pulls out his gun and just blows the guy's head off. So a little bit late, and then you see Tommy just kind of sitting there smoking a cigarette, and Resurrection Man wakes up and he looks at him and says, "So what's your power now?" He goes, "Oh, I can make butterflies." And bam, right between the eyes. It just keeps going like that, with him popping up until all of a sudden, I forget what his power was, super strong, or I don't know. He was able to get, until he had a useful power. But it was a very funny, and Tommy's the only one who would think of that. Just keep blowing this guy away until he's got a good power. This Tommy's a ruthless hitman. I mean, he is a hitman. This story, it's clever. It's someone interviewing Clark Kent about Superman and about Tommy, and if Tommy was ever in the Justice League or how he met the Justice League. And there is a thing happening where the Justice League brought him up to a satellite, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happening with the aliens from Bloodline are back, but this is before he was killed. He's killed in issue 60, which was in the 90s. This was in the 2000s. This was produced. So this is a flashback. And all you see, Tommy's just like, as soon as he gets in the satellite, he's looking over at Wonder Woman. You can tell he's using his X-ray vision to try and see her naked. It's just, there's scenes where he's crawling up, they're going up a ladder up the side of a building. It's just Wonder Woman and him. She's ahead of him. And the whole time you can just see he's focused right on her butt. I mean, he's just kind of he's not a hero. He's great, though. He would do what most of us would do if we had X-ray vision and we ran into Wonder Woman. Either of them, actually. But anyhow, this is Hitman. I wouldn't seek out. This was not a wonderful read. It was a lot of fun and nostalgic. I would seek out his trade paperbacks. They are available in trade for the Hitman series. I don't have any in my collection. I would like to reread those. I might do that someday. But I would seek out Hitman. It's an older book that's early work by a great writer that's really big now. I mean, Preacher and the Boys, you've seen those on TV. This is something you won't see on TV. It's just not that level. Hitman's unknown. He's a weird character. And a lot of fun. I always loved that book when it came out. And I wanted to talk about Hitman, not the comic as much. All right. Thanks.